A loud noise startled Junpei awake, and his eyes snapped open. As they adjusted to the light, he realized that he didn't recognize his surroundings. Ow! With a crack, Junpei's head connected with something metal. He rolled over and threw out his hand to steady himself, but he found himself groping at empty air. His balance lost and his still fuzzy mind struggling to understand what was going on, Junpei tumbled down to the cold gray floor. Ouch! God damn it! God, what the hell? Junpei glared around the room, still trying to determine where he'd woken up. The fall had shaken the last cobwebs of sleep from his mind, and finally he understood where he'd fallen from. It was a bed. A 3-level bunk bed, in fact. Junpei had fallen, apparently, from the topmost bunk. His shoulder hurt, his knee hurt, his hip hurt, his entire body hurt. He could feel a bump forming on his forehead where he'd slammed it against a low ceiling. He wondered if that bump was the reason he felt his vision wavering a bit, but that seemed unlikely. At first, he thought the tremor that ran through his legs was just another effect of his rude awakening, but as he looked around, he realized it was real. The whole room was shaking. Was it an earthquake, he wondered? It didn't seem likely. It was shaking far too quickly for an earthquake. Then again, Junpei had no idea what it was, if not an earthquake. He tried to tell himself it was important. Junpei rubbed the growing bump on his head and gingerly climbed to his feet. His balance regained, he finally took his first good look around the room. And muttered to himself, "Where am I?" His pain momentarily forgotten in the face of the confusion of his circumstances, Junpei looked around the room once again. Minutes passed while Junpei struggled to get his bearings. Then, as suddenly as they had begun, the tremor ceased. A cold silence fell over the room. From somewhere far away, Junpei could hear the sound of metal squeaking. He felt his stomach tighten. There were 1,000 things the sound could have been, but none of the things he could think of were good. In an attempt to distract himself, Junpei looked around the room once more. There was a stove that looked more antique than functional. The 3-level bunk bed had mattresses that were so thin that they were little more than blankets. On the other side of the room was an identical bed, and set in the wall between the beds was a slightly dirty iron door. The first thing Junpei noticed about the door was the number roughly emblazoned across it. On the surface of the door, in red paint, someone had written 5. 5? What's this 5 mean? Suspicious and still utterly confused, Junpei approached the door, slowly. Standing at last in front of the door, Junpei grabbed hold of the L-shaped handle. A push yielded no movement, and a pull the same result. A few more tries cemented the truth in Junpei's mind. It wouldn't open. It didn't matter how much he pushed and shoved, the handle wouldn't budge. Next to the door was an odd-looking device that reminded Junpei of a card reader. It didn't take a genius to figure out that the odd-looking device was keeping the door shut. Junpei knocked hard on the door. Hey! Hello? Is anyone there? Open the door! There was no response. Junpei threw his left fist into the door and stopped. What the hell is this? He wasn't really sure what else to say. On his left wrist was a bracelet of a sort he'd never seen before. In the center was a large LCD display. It looked like nothing else so much as a watch, but it clearly wasn't that. After all, it showed only a single number. 5. That's the same as the door. True, the numbers were the same, but he had no idea what that might mean. All he knew was that it was strange and new, and he wanted it off. Junpei flipped his hand over as if to remove a watch, but the other side of the bracelet was solid. No buckle, no clasp, nothing. He sighed and flipped the thing back over. There were a number of rivets around the rim of the face. Perhaps... He pushed them, but nothing happened. On a watch, they might be dials for adjusting date or time, but on this bracelet, they did nothing. Junpei was at a loss. What was he going to do? Growing more desperate, he began to tug at it. However... Damn! It's no good! Damn thing won't come off! A steel ring ran from the face around Junpei's wrist and back into the face. He wouldn't be pulling the bracelet off anytime in the near future. What the hell is the deal with this thing? Frustration and desperation were beginning to mix as the reality of the situation began to dawn fully on Junpei. So much was happening and none of it made sense. Junpei felt as though he were about to explode. Where am I? And why the hell am I here? Why? Why? What the hell happened to me? It was at that moment that he noticed the window. The window is round, rimmed in riveted brass, like a window from an early 20th century ship. What? Wait, am I in a ship? Junpei walked slowly toward the window. He could see nothing beyond it but thick, impenetrable darkness. Junpei squinted, trying to see something, anything. It was at that moment. What the? You gotta be kidding me. What the hell is going on here? A crack split in the glass of the window, and for a moment Junpei stared at it. Then the window burst and water began to pour into the room. What the hell? God damn it! Junpei yelled and spun around. His feet slipping on the water already coming through the window, he ran for the door. Hey! Anyone! Is anyone there? Come on, if you're there, say something! There was no reply. As Junpei screamed and pounded on the door, the water began to rise. It was now ankle deep on the floor and rising quickly towards his knees. Things were not looking good for Junpei. Not good at all. He needed to find a way out, and quickly. Junpei ran a hand across his forehead, brushing the sweat out of his eyes, and looked around the room. Hey everyone, and welcome to Zero Escape 999. 9 persons, 9 hours, 9 doors. We have a visual novel, the first I have Let's Played, and an escape room game, also the first I've ever played. Well, I've played the Zero Escape franchise before, but this is my first time playing it on the channel, and it's my first time playing, this is the first series I've ever played which is based around escape rooms. Because it is a visual novel, and also a DS game, which is another first for me in my Let's Playing. This is going to be quite a bit of a different Let's Play for me, and I'm both excited and nervous, and please give me any feedback whatsoever to make these better, because I really enjoy these games and I want to make sure it's the best experience possible. Now, despite the fact that there is water flooding into the room, operations during an escape. During an escape, you can move to different parts of the room by touching the bottom screen. In this case, I have the bottom screen on the left and the top screen on the right. Since many areas require very exact selection, we recommend you use the stylus. Searching during an escape. During an escape, you can touch the background to search anywhere in the room. Areas you can investigate will be highlighted yellow the moment you touch them. Thank you for the awkward line break. Depending on the nature of the location you touch, you might find an item or a hint. Begin searching by touching places on the bottom screen. How to move! Touch the triangle icon on the bottom screen. Doing so will change the viewing angle of the room and move you to different locations. You can do the same thing by pressing left, right, and down on the control pad. Bird's eye view. If you want to know where you are, press X on the camera icon on the bottom screen. This will show you where you are and what direction you're facing. Saving during an escape. Pressing start will allow you to save. If you want to quit, we recommend pressing start. Purpose of the escape. The purpose of each escape is to get out of the room. How you do that depends on the room. You'll need to search all throughout the room to discover what you'll need to do to get out. Search for hints and items that may help you find a way out. Anyways, as I was saying, despite the fact that water is currently rushing in, water just keeps pouring through the window. It's like a waterfall. I don't think shoving something into the window is going to stop the water. In other words, if I don't want to die, I need to find a way out of this room. I have to figure this out. Thankfully, despite the water rushing into the room, there is no actual time limit. You have as much time as you need to solve each escape room. There's no actual pressure like that. You have all the time you need to think, which is so appreciated. That being said, let's get started with searching around the room to find a way to escape. So, as noted before, this device is clearly keeping the door shut. I guess that's a lever, huh? Maybe if I pull it... Well, it looks like pulling on the lever just makes a weird noise. Great. The light's still red and the display hasn't changed. Damn it! Why the hell isn't this thing opening? Well, we're gonna have to find something to do to make that actually work. So, starting back where we started, what do we notice right away? Well, I see over here, there's something up in the mirror about items. During an escape, investigating certain parts of the room will allow you to obtain items. Once you've obtained an item, you'll be able to go to the item screen. Touching L, item, on the top left will take you to the item screen. While on the item screen, you will be able to investigate, hold, and combine items that you found. If you want to investigate an item you found, touch the icon for that item in the item screen, and then touch Search, R, in the top right corner of the bottom screen. So, we got an item, a note from the bulletin board. Unfortunately, like basically every other DS game that lets you investigate objects, looking at you, Ace Attorney, rotating this is incredibly awkward and weird, and I hate it. And I blame Euler angles, and if you know what Euler angles are, you immediately agree with me. It sucks. I hate it. Anyways, we have a note. We have a red side and a blue side, a top left filled triangle, bottom right empty triangle, bottom left filled and top right empty, and then an arrow, red to blue, left to right. Alright then, that's probably about all we can get out of that for now. Investigate with an item. Touching an item while on the item screen will select that item. While an item is selected, touching L back will return you to the room investigation screen. If you look down at the bottom left corner of the screen, you should see the icon. This shows that you are holding the item. If you hold an item while investigating the room, you may trigger a reaction. Investigate suspicious areas with different items to see if anything happens. Pressing up on the control pad will select another item for you to hold. Alright, so yeah, we can use items we find with things in the room, and hopefully it'll have a result. Note that if you are holding an item, you don't need to put it away to get like a regular investigation, but if holding an item will have an effect on your investigation, then it will have that effect if you're holding it. But you don't need to like put it away or anything. Next thing I notice here is a picture frame. Yeah, we've got a picture frame. It's a little bit foggy. It's a ship in dense fog, it looks like. And last thing that's of note is the sink. Doesn't seem like there's anything hidden on the sink. This is the only drain in this room. Lovely, so we can't just drain the water through there. That'll take way too much effort, and there's way more water than that sink can probably handle. Can definitely handle. Alright, next up, coming over to this corner of the room. We've got a few things that immediately stand out. We got a blue briefcase down here. No dice. It's locked tight. Let's see if there's anything in the keyhole. No. Keyhole's empty. It's a small keyhole. If I want to open the briefcase, I need to fill it up with a key. And there's numbers on here as well, so we'll probably need to find a password. Alright, next up we've got this little stovetop. If we look in the stove itself, well, if we look in the pot, well, let's see if there's anything in here. Huh, looks like there is. We find a key. Yeah, there's a little blue key in the bottom of this pot. Odd. Well, it had to be somewhere. But we got a blue key. I bet it goes to a blue briefcase. But given there are numbers on the briefcase, we probably need a code, and we don't have a code yet. This is the door to the stove. Well, it opens easily enough. Sure wish the door to get out of here was that easy to open. Alright, what do we got in here? Looks like there's something on the stool? A screwdriver. Awesome. Combining items. If you take two items you found and combine them, they may turn into something else. To do this, select an item on the item screen and touch Combine X on the top part of the bottom screen. Then select the second item and touch X, combining. If the two items can be combined, you will receive a new item. If they cannot be combined, nothing will happen. A screwdriver, huh? Wonder why that's here. Well, if they're telling us about combining, I bet I know what we can combine this with. If you remember on the back of the picture frame, it's a little pixelated because good old DS graphics, but there are screws back here. Speaking of the DS, yes, it's very obvious, but I am playing the DS version. There are re-releases of this game on other systems, PlayStation, PC, on several systems. The port is very, very good and includes a lot of quality of life features. It has brand new voice acting, which was not in the original DS version, and it includes some really valuable quality of life features that definitely make it worthwhile if you're playing for the first time. However, this game's story was written with the express intent of being experienced on DS. I am not kidding when I say some of the story beats in this game are fundamentally unable to be experienced in their full impact if you are not playing on DS. This is why I'm playing on DS. Unfortunately, it's not even a matter of like, oh, they didn't do a good job with the port. I think they did an amazing job with the port, but the way the story is told requires 2 screens. And this will make sense eventually, trust me. Anyways, let's go ahead and combine this picture frame with the screwdriver and see if we can get that back off. Well, the screwdriver got those screws off easily enough, and here's the picture. Awesome, we got the picture of the cruise liner, and if we take a look at the back, well, this looks like a key to me if I can get it flipped around the right way. Oh my god, okay, here we go. This looks somewhat familiar. If we take a look back at this, well, we've got empty triangles and filled triangles, and we have empty triangles and filled triangles. We have a key. Fantastic. Alright then, that's about all we can do with the stove, so next up is this little closet area, where we have a red briefcase. That's just like the blue briefcase. Yep, there's a lock on this one too, and it's not opening. Yeah, and another number password it looks like, so we're gonna need a key and a password. We already have the blue key, we need the red key, we need both passwords, oh gosh. Alright, how about anything with the beds? Anything up here? There's a pipe at the other end of the bed. There's nothing up top. Unfortunate. How about this? I can keep looking till the cows come home, all I'm gonna find up here is that pillow. Damn it! Isn't there anything else I can use? I guess not? Maybe down here? There's a blue briefcase on top of the bed. Nothing. Alright, how about these beds over here? Well, I can reach this bunk. Might as well look through it. Huh. Damn, nothing here. Unfortunate. Are we sure there's nothing? Oh, here we go. I can't bring myself to call this a bed. It feels like a board with a sheet on it. It's pretty flat. But if we could zoom in on it, then maybe... Aha, under the pillow. We've got another one of these cards. This time it's blue on the left and red on the right, versus red on the left and blue on the right. You might be able to figure out how all the pieces fit together now, but we still need one more thing before we can get out of this room, or before we can begin solving this room. And to find that last thing, let's just go ahead and take a look over here at this closet for a red key, so we can get into that red briefcase. Beautiful. Junpei grabbed the key and shoved it into his pocket. He intended to leave immediately, but something stopped him. His reflection stared back at him from the mirror, but he had scarcely recognized himself. What's up with my face? His confusion was well justified. His face was drawn and pale, and the dark circles under his eyes made him look as though he was nearly dead. Man, what the hell happened to me? How did I end up here? Even as he said it, something in his mind opened and a memory bobbed to the surface. It was the last thing Junpei remembered before waking up in the strange room. It was past midnight when he came home. Junpei shuffled up the stairs and opened the door to apartment 201. Inside was his apartment, a small one-bedroom affair that ran him about $630 a month. He moved into it when he entered college, and so far he'd been there for 3 years and 7 months. He stepped inside and turned on the lights. The fluorescent lights on the ceiling blinked and flickered slowly to life, as if waking from a deep slumber. Their cold light illuminated the landscape he'd come home to so many times before. Everything was as he'd left it. The magazines piled up in the corner, the textbooks collecting dust, the CD cases covering the floor, the jeans and t-shirt he'd worn the day before, then tossed onto the floor. There was one thing that didn't belong, however. There was a breeze. Breaths of cold night air wafted into his apartment, carrying the smells of autumn with them. The white curtain framing his window swayed gently in the wind. Huh, that's weird. Did I leave that open? Junpei walked toward the window, trying to remember if he'd closed it or not before he left. One of the panes was hanging open. He stuck his head out and looked around. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Junpei shrugged. He must have just left it open earlier. He closed the window. Then it happened. Junpei turned and found himself face to mask with a man dressed all in black. The man wore a deep hood and a bulky gas mask. His face was entirely hidden. Junpei tried to scream, but all he could manage was a strangled croak. He tried to step toward the man, but his legs could no longer support his weight. Junpei collapsed to the floor, a crumpled heap of limbs like a discarded puppet. Too late, he noticed the white smoke that was quickly filling his apartment. A small object shaped distressingly like a grenade sat on the floor in front of his face, hissing. The white smoke poured out of it at an incredible rate. The smoke had grown so thick that the details of Junpei's apartment began to fade into the white haze. He could feel his mind begin to fade as well, a white haze that was not the smoke creeping into the edges of his vision. Consider this a privilege. You have been chosen. A rasping voice wormed its way out of the gas mask. It was cold and harsh and distorted in some way Junpei couldn't put his finger on. You are going to participate in a game. The Nonary game. It is a game where you will put your life on the line. That was the last thing Junpei remembered. The white smoke overpowered him, the masked man faded from his vision, and he felt his consciousness fall away into the white mist. That's right! That guy with the gas mask! That son of a bitch must have taken me here! As to who the man was, or might have been, Junpei had no idea. Indeed, he wasn't even sure that his assailant had been a man. The voice had been cold and mechanical, likely passed through a voice changer, and the body had been covered in a thick cloak. Who was the man in the mask? You have been chosen. Junpei remembered that much, but what it might mean, that was beyond him. Junpei had no idea where he was or why he was there. There was only one thing from his memory that seemed important. You are going to participate in a game. The Nonary game. It is a game where you will put your life on the line. The Nonary game, huh? What the hell is a Nonary game? God damn it! With a yell, Junpei drove his fist into the mirror. Well, disturbing and distressing indeed. Makes sense we were kidnapped, but what is this Nonary game that they're talking about? Alright, with the red and blue key, we can now begin to open the briefcases, and with these two pieces of paper and this key, we have everything we need to figure out the passwords. So, if you haven't figured it out yet, the colors are what's important here, and thank God blue and red are distinct enough for me because I'm colorblind. Red-green colorblind, but so thankfully blue and red are not an issue. But, God, that would be distressing if, that would be very distressing if I couldn't read these because colorblindness. Anyways, so the key is the colors, and the arrow. The arrow will tell you, of course, which direction to read it, left to right. And then the shapes themselves will actually tell us, effectively, what the password is. How we actually decode this is using the key. So, let's see. For blue, we're gonna have to break these two strips of paper into their blue and red components. So I'm just going to go ahead and get out a piece of note sheet paper right now. I actually have a full-on journal for this game. And I'm going to go ahead and start transcribing these notes. So, left side, the first two in blue are full square and empty upper left triangle. Last two in red are upper right filled triangle and empty square. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and write this down, and then we'll take a look at the other note. Other note has, the first two in red are top left filled triangle, bottom right empty triangle, and the last two in blue are bottom left filled triangle and top right empty triangle. Okay, I have that written down. Now we can begin turning that into numbers. So, starting with blue, we have full square, filled square, which is 0. We have top left empty triangle, which is 2. We have bottom left filled triangle, which is 6. And top right empty triangle, which is 3. So that means the password for blue is 0263. Let's go ahead and try that out. Back to the blue briefcase. Let's use our blue key. Alright, let's see what happens if I put this blue key in the keyhole. And nothing. I guess I'm going to need some sort of code for the dial. Minigames! During an escape, your investigation may trigger one of several minigames. All operations for the minigames are done by touching the bottom screen, or left screen in our case. Some minigames will require you to manipulate something, while others will only require you to apply the right object to or touch the right thing. Operation instructions. Touching the dial will cause it to move to the next number. Enter 4 numbers this way and then touch the key. If the numbers are correct, it will unlock. Okay, so our password is, as we found, 0, 2, 6, and 3. Turn the key. Alright, let's see if those numbers work. Turn the key and, hey, looks like it's working. Yes! Alright, let's open it up. Okay, open this briefcase and we have a folder. Yes! It opened. Looks like there's something in here. What is this? A file? Well, let's check it out. File screen. If you find any documents or notes during an escape, the information on them will be available from the file screen. To open the file screen, touch File, R, in the top right of the bottom screen. Once at the file screen, select files by touching them, or by pressing anything on the control pad. If you touch Search, R, the contents of the file you selected will be displayed on the upper screen. Alright, let's see what's in this file. Digital root. Let's see here. Compute a digital root with the following steps. First, add all the numbers in question to one another. If you end up with something greater than a single digit number, add the digits to one another. For instance, if you have a double digit number, add the number in the tens place to the number in the ones place. Keep adding digits in this manner until you have a single digit answer. That single final digit is your digital root. Example, the digital root of 678 would be 6 plus 7 plus 8 is 21, 2 plus 1 is 3. Also worth noting that this is very, very flexible in how you do the calculations because addition has this property called commutativity and associativity. These two properties are very, very useful. Associativity means you can do addition in any order, and commutativity means you can means that 2 plus 1 is the same thing as 1 plus 2. It's kind of like symmetric like that. These two properties actually make this very flexible. So you could, for example, instead of doing 6 plus 7 plus 8, you could do, I know 7 plus 8 is 15. I like that addition. That's actually, that's one of the first ones I memorized when I was in like elementary school. 7 plus 8 is 15. I don't know why. That one just stuck with me. So we have 6 plus 15. 1 plus 5 in the 15 gives another 6. Now we have 6, 6. Add the two 6s together, you get 12. Add the 1 and 2 together, and you get 3. It's very, very, very flexible. You can do this in basically any order. You're just adding the digits together repeatedly until you have one digit. Therefore, the digital root of 678 is 3. Example, the digital root of 1234 would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. Therefore, the digital root of 1234 is 1. I see. So I just keep adding numbers until I get a single digit number. Oh, looks like there's something on the back of this thing. A notebook, a pen, and a calculator. And a stack of key cards. Huh. Well, that's useful. New material has been added to the file screen. Calculator! The calculator screen can be used during an escape or during a novel sequence. During an escape, you can access it by pressing the Y button. This will open the calculator screen. To operate the calculator, touch the bottom screen. When using the calculator, the numbers on the top are your calculations, and the numbers on the bottom are your answer. The calculator can also calculate a digital route, which will be important to the progression of the story. Alright, it is worth pointing out that yes, there's a lot of numerology stuff in this game, like, not in like the mysticism of numerology, but like in the, there's just a lot of meaning hidden in basically all the numbers in the game. If you see numbers somewhere, there's probably some hidden meaning to them that you just need to figure out, or you'll figure out in retrospect. But the calculator is pretty useful. If you don't want to do a digital route yourself, you can put in a bunch of numbers, hit digital route, it'll give you the digital route. You can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and you can get your answer. No division though. Alright then, now that we have that, let's check out what's in the red briefcase, which was back in this closet over here. Let's get out that red key. Alright, let's stick that red key in there. It's not opening. In fact, it's not doing anything at all. Well, alright, I take that back. I guess I can move the dial now. So it looks like I'm gonna have to put in the right numbers and then turn the key. I do that, this thing should pop right open. Let's give it a shot. Operation instructions. Touching the dial will cause it to move to the next number. We've already done this, but thank you again. Enter 4 numbers this way and then touch the key. If the numbers are correct, it will unlock. Alright, so before we actually do this, we do need to pull up our notes again. Damn it, it's not opening. I wonder if anything I've got might have a hint. I think it should open if I just put in the right numbers and turn the key. Yeah, don't worry about it, Junpei, we've got this. So, we need to figure out the red password now. So, I have written down from earlier that red is top left filled triangle, that is a 7, bottom right empty triangle is a 4, top right empty triangle is a 3, and empty square is a 5. 7, 4, 3, 5, is that correct? 4, 3, 5. Yeah, that looks correct. Okay. So now that we have the password, let's put it in. Alright, let's give this another shot. Yes, we've already seen the instructions. Thank you, game. They're a little bit handholdy, but this is the first escape room, so. 7, 4, 3, 5. No? Did I do something wrong? Oh, that's embarrassing. Hang on. Let's take another look. It is. Oh my gosh. I wrote down the triangle wrong. I forgot to write down that it's a filled triangle there. That is the mistake. That is entirely on me. Okay. Filled triangle is an 8. Okay then. That'll give us the correct password. That's kind of embarrassing that I screwed that up, but that's entirely a transcription error. I just didn't fill in the triangle correctly on my notepad. Important early lesson. Be very careful when you are taking notes and figuring out what to do. Every little detail matters. This was an easy mistake, this was a really dumb mistake, but it gets a lot more complicated as we go. Yes! I unlocked it! Okay, let's open up this red briefcase. It's opening. And we have cards. A stack of red cards. Alright then, let's get out of here. Now that we have all of these cards, we should be able to get out of here, but first, I want to check out the file screen because we got a lot of information in these files. Okay, most of these are just summaries of what we've already learned. Controls, in case you need to look at those again. Control during the story sections. Map screen with X, calculator with Y, display history with up, and fast forward, keep pressing B or L or touching the bottom screen, or left screen in our case. Item screen controls, file screen controls, map screen controls. Okay, it's all controls so far, but here we start to get more interesting. Calculator, and then escape tips. Touching the bottom screen during an escape searches a touched area. Repeatedly touching the same area, or touching it again after searching other areas, might uncover new clues. Touching an arrow that appears in an area you've searched will take you somewhere else. You can switch items on the item screen. Selecting an item on the item screen allows you to hold it. After selecting an item and leaving the item screen, the icon will appear on the bottom screen, showing the item you are holding. Touching certain areas while holding certain items might cause something to happen. Oops. Misclick. I have a habit of like very twitchy fingers, so that'll happen sometimes. My bad. Combining items you can use to combine items into new items. Select an item on the item screen and touch Combine. Select the second item and touch Combining. If you've selected a possible combination, you will now have a new item. And finally, minigames. All controlling during minigames is done by touching the bottom screen. If you want to quit the minigame, touch back. If you are having difficulty solving a minigame, make sure to search the room thoroughly. Sometimes new hints will be unlocked if you fail enough times, so there is a little bit of a generosity feature there. If you're struggling, it will start to give you hints. You just gotta keep backing out and failing the minigame, and eventually it'll start to give you ideas. Alright, now let's try and get out of here with these new key cards we've picked up. Alright, 5. 5, huh? What does that mean? Bet it's importance. These cards with numbers on them. I'm pretty sure this is where I'm supposed to use them. Alright, let's slide this card and see if it works. And... Huh? It's not working. Why? Damn it. No, that's right. I still have cards I haven't used. We still have the blue cards we can try. Damn it. Not again? There aren't any more cards in here. I've only got one other hint. Of course, the files. The files said something about a digital route. A digital route? The digital route, huh? What am I supposed to do with... There's a 5 on that door. Do I have to get a digital route of 5? I'm not really sure about this. Oh, whatever, it's worth a shot. Let's see if this works. I'll just slide the cards that give me the digital route of 5 through the reader. Alright, operating instructions. Touch 3 cards to select them. The digital route of the selected cards will be displayed on the top screen. Touching reset will deselect all currently selected cards. After you've selected 3 cards, touch the device. Okay, we need to pick 3 cards that give a digital route of 5. Immediately, a 2-digit number that pops into my head, 14, gives a digital route of 5. 14 is 7 plus 7. We have 7, but we don't have a second 7. 2 numbers that add to 7, though, are 6 and 1. Alright, I think this is gonna work. There we go, that's a new noise. Huh. Did it just unlock? Well, that light was red and now it's blue. No doubt about it. There's nothing keeping me in here now. Time to go. Alright, and with that, next time on Zero Escape 999, we head through that door. Well, we're heading through that door now. And next time we will see what's beyond.